Started the day with light rain, and I knew that there was a strong chance of thunderstorms rolling in the morning, so got up and got things rolling, and before I knew it, we were in a torrential downpour and thunderstorm. Hey folks, Joe here. So it is Sunday afternoon, looking out over Lake Superior. Lots of fog. Currently no rain. Woke up this morning, it was raining. It pretty much rained all night. Just before I got up, started hearing a lot of thunder and lightning getting closer and closer, so I got up to try and start getting a few things done before that hit, and then she hit hard. Just torrential downpour, lightning strikes everywhere. Hung around for a little while, then just went back in the tent for another 2 or 3 hours. Back up now. Had another rain shower a few minutes ago while sitting under the tarp reading a book, and now the rain actually stopped for the first time today completely. I'm just going to take a walk up and down the beach here. There's 2 other little spots that people sometimes camp at. I'll walk you down and show you some of those. Take a photo here, then turn the camera back on when I get to the first place just down there. Apparently during the thunderstorm this morning, I didn't have the tarp set up quite the way I should have, and I ended up standing under it for about 35-40 minutes with a paddle holding up the middle so the water wouldn't just pool up. After the rain let up, reset the tarp, and it was much better the rest of the time from there. Here's one of the sites. There's a total of 3 along this beach. The one I've been staying in is the main one. Always was the nicest until recently, though the last few years it deteriorated, but I've been fixing her back up. This one's got room for a couple of tents, not too bad. Not ideal if you want to set up a tarp for a little bit of protection as well, like I did yesterday. Although the power of the rain today and the angle kind of overwhelmed it, and pretty much everything got soaked, including the big cache of firewood that I gathered yesterday before the rain. Completely soaked. So didn't even bother having a fire yet today. Might have one tonight, don't know. I'll be packing up early tomorrow morning. Supposed to be a good weather day. Gonna get some paddling in and make it on to the next campsite. I'll head down the beach now, show you the next spot. Okay, gonna walk over this debris field here. Make our way along, make sure we don't slip on any of these slippy pieces of rain-soaked wood. That would not make my day, but that is not going to happen. I don't fall. And here's the other site. This one's the smallest of the 3 areas. There's the entrance. Room for one tent only. You might be able to string up a tarp. Got a few trees here and there if you have enough cordage. Right here, of course. So, plenty of room for one tent. Not a lot else for this spot. So I would rank this spot number 3 of the 3. The one we just showed you, that would have been number 1 yesterday and probably the last few years. The one I'm staying at is now the best of the 3. Again, not the first time I rebuilt that site. Probably won't be the last. Anyways, yesterday, in some of the video, I was pointing down towards those rock ledges over there. I think I'm going to turn the camera off, take a walk over there, and just poke around a little bit. More or less killing time today. There's not a lot else fun stuff to do. This is just out along those rocky ledges I was talking about a minute ago. Out this way. And back behind me. And I'm camped out over there somewhere. Okay, we're sitting here under the tarp on a very rainy day. And it's sometime mid-afternoon, I'm not sure what time. I'm going to fry up some grub in this bowl. Have some dehydrated hash browns, dehydrated onions, mushrooms, hot peppers, ground beef, all dehydrated. And here we got a kettle of water. We just want to cover it over. Just barely cover it, maybe a little bit more. And we're going to put a lid on it. First we'll give her a little stir. Swizzle it up a little bit. I'm gonna let that sit and rehydrate for a little while. Then we're gonna get the skillet going and cook up some food. This time I also brought a dozen eggs with me. So I'm gonna have a late breakfast. Snacked on some cold food this morning because of the weather. Now it's time to get a real meal in. Talk to you soon. So back over at the campsite, time to get a little bit of breakfast into myself. So what I have here is dehydrated hash browns, ground beef, mushrooms, hot peppers, and onions. I'm going to pour some boiling water on that, cover it over, let it rehydrate. We're going to cook up that and a few eggs that I brought along. Added a little bit of oregano powder and some spicy seasoning mix. Gonna cook this up. Once it's almost done, throw in 2 or 3 eggs, do her up, and then it's chow time. I am getting kind of hungry. No rain right now, but it's supposed to start raining again in the next half hour to an hour, around 4 o'clock, 4:30, according to the weather forecast. Hoping to get this down first, and then forecasted for rain for an hour or two, and then a break for a couple of hours, and then we're looking at heavy rain again. So lovely. Oh well, life is good, man. So the lake stayed pretty calm for most of the day. It wasn't until quite a bit later that the wind started to pick up and things like that. But the plan was to stay in camp today because they were predicting 25 plus knot winds and a lot of rain. So when I got here yesterday, the plan was to stay an extra day, head out tomorrow. Now back to my breakfast. That's just about ready to push to one side and throw in some eggs. And there we go, folks, a late brunch. Fried up eggs, 3 eggs, and everything else is from dehydrated ingredients, hash browns, hot peppers, mushrooms, onions, and ground beef. It's almost 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Had snacks earlier in the day while it was raining hard. And now I'm going to get a hot meal into myself. And in another hour or two, it's time to have a beer. Hey folks. So it's Sunday afternoon, about 4:45. The rain let up a little while ago. The longest break so far today. Got the campfire going. The wood was all soaked from the thunderstorm this morning. Rained a lot harder than I was expecting. The winds didn't really come up though. They were forecasting big winds out on the lake. That never really happened. A few gusts, but the lake was pretty calm. Could have paddled. Planned to stay here for 2 nights anyway, so that was the plan. Got the fire going just a few minutes ago. Had to break down some wood, split it up a lot, find some dry stuff, get in there. I hadn't brought any paper or fire starter. I meant to bring some fire starter, but I forgot those at home. I don't usually even bother with those, but I knew there's going to be a lot of rain this trip. So anyways, got the fire going. There's a chance of showers still this afternoon, but right now it's looking pretty good. But weather forecast, the hourly forecast, calls for 100% rain by 8, 90% at 9, and 80% at 10 o'clock. So I'm thinking it's going to be an early night once the rain really gets going. Went to bed last night around 10:30, had a nice relaxing evening. It was very light rain. Sharp worked outstanding. Had a couple drinks out here. I think I had 2 beers and 2 glasses of wine, I think it was. And anyways, slept really good, super comfortable. And now, it's not quite 5 o'clock, but it's probably going to be an early night tonight, so I'm going to crack my first beer for the day. Camp chores are mostly done. Got a hot meal into me. Did some reading. And now I'm going to chill out and enjoy my fire and hopefully enjoy the next few hours before the rain starts. Get ready for tomorrow. Tomorrow looks like a day pretty good, cloudy, but not really a lot of rain, maybe a couple showers, nothing much. Going to be hitting the water sometime in the morning. I got a couple places to check out as possible campsites for tomorrow. A lot of rain in the forecast for Tuesday, so I'm not sure, depending on what I get for a campsite tomorrow. I might take 2 days there as well. This trip isn't just about the paddling this time, it's also about the camping and just spending a little time in the woods and having some fun. That is going to go down good. I'll be back to talk to you soon. Okay, so with the next video clip coming up here, that's going to explain why I did not get to paddle the next day and why tonight was the longest night I've had in a long time. It was actually the first night of camping that I was ever kind of nervous being in the tent overnight. It was really bad.
Hey folks, Joe here again. It's Sunday evening, October 10th. Canadian Thanksgiving is tomorrow. And about 15 minutes ago, I was just checking my phone, looking around on Facebook, and I see a notification that the area is under a tornado warning. Yeah, ain't that nice? Here I am camped out on an island on Lake Superior. And I check the news and I see that there's a tornado warning in the area. Well, if you ever see this footage that I'm recording right now, I'm sitting right behind the camera looking into the campfire. I'm having a glass of wine. If you ever see this footage, you know I'm alright and the tornado didn't hit me. Lovely, eh? Anyways, just thought I'd give you a little update there, and I hope this makes it to YouTube. Cheers.
So yeah, I was actually a little bit more nervous than I let on in that video. I wasn't really crazy about the idea of being in a tornado warning area on Lake Superior. Kinda no.
Hey everybody, Joe here. So it's a couple hours later since the last little piece I recorded here when I was mentioning the tornado warning coming in. And I don't have the camera on the tripod, I'm just holding it by hand here and aiming it at the fire so you have something to look at while I talk. Well, after getting the tornado warning, I went around camp, made sure everything was secure, moved the canoe twice, moved it onto higher ground, tied it down. A little while later the wind shifted and there were two trees that I was thinking, if this thing hits, or even just the high winds, 90 kilometers an hour, 100 kilometers an hour, there's two trees that could take out the bow of the canoe. So I moved that about another 20 feet away and made sure everything was secured, a lot of things tied down. The worst of the storm was supposed to hit between 9 and 10 my time, and then between 10 and 11 as well, but to a lesser effect. So I decided, instead of going to bed shortly after dark like I had planned tonight, which would have been about 8:30, I was going to stick around, keep the fire going, and just watch the situation. A little before 9, the sky started to really light up. Winds picked up a bit. Winds were moving from one direction to another, moving around quite a bit, but never really got all that strong. Just gusts, so not so bad, but cause for concern. But a little after 10, like the lightning was just non-stop lighting up the sky. You could almost sit outside and read your book at night from the light from the lightning. It was almost that ridiculous. I've only experienced that once before, and that was while out in Saskatchewan. I think it was the canoe trip across Canada, though it might have been the bicycle trip across Canada. No, it was the canoe trip. Anyways, I'm still sitting here by the fire right now. The lightning has subsided. There's still flashes almost non-stop, but they're distant. You hardly hear any thunder now, so it's coming close to 11 o'clock at night. I believe the worst is over. I figured it wouldn't be too bad, but I figured I'm not going to go to bed quite yet. I'm going to stay up for a couple hours and see this through, just in case. And all looks good. So, yeah, made for a fun and interesting kind of night. I wasn't expecting that. Anyways, more soon.
So yeah, we're not out of the woods yet. Around 2 a.m. was when things got really crazy, and I'll be talking about that shortly in the next clip, which was from the morning of day 3. And yeah, what a trip, man.
Hey folks, Joe here. So it's Monday afternoon, October 11th. Actually, scratch that. It is Monday evening, October 11th. Thanksgiving up here in Canada. This is day 3 of the trip. Today was supposed to be out in the water, heading over to the next campsite, but we ended up being windbound today. If you watch some of the earlier video, you see where I was talking about the tornado warning from last night and how crazy things got there. The thunderstorm warning for last night was basically from 9 to 11 p.m., so I stayed up for that. Watched an amazing light show in the sky, something like I've never seen in so many years. That trickled out a little bit. There's still lots of lightning in the sky, but it was further off. The sound of thunder was far off, so eventually I went to bed around 11 thinking, okay, everything looks pretty good. Wake up at 2 o'clock, feels like there's an airplane flying overhead constantly. It's the sound of the wind. In all my years of camping, 50 years. I have never been in a tent through wind like that in my life. The first time I slept in a tent, tried to sleep in a tent, and was actually feeling pretty darn nervous. Lots of old trees around here, and that wind was blowing and howling. Some of the gusts were, I don't know how strong, but I didn't sleep a whole lot last night. It died off a couple times, once around I think it was 4 a.m., died off quite nice. Got to sleep for an hour, maybe an hour, and then wind picked right back up even harder than it was. That went on and on and on till about 8 o'clock in the morning, where it finally started to settle out a little bit. And after that, I slept pretty good till about 11 this morning. Checked out the lake. I'm in a protected bay, and the entire thing was nothing but whitecaps. Okay, so once you get around the corner into exposed waters, solo open canoe, maybe not. Maybe not. I've paddled similar conditions in the past, but I'm not doing that right now. I'm not going to push it. It's October, the water's not warm, the beer is not warm in the best of days. So, another day in camp, hanging out, having a little fun. Got the campfire going right now, having a beer. I've been munching on some crackers, some cheddar cheese, and even roasting a few hot dogs over the fire. I've got my wine glass here as well. Excuse me for squinting. The smoke's in my eyes pretty bad right now. The wind just shifted a little bit. And I got a little bit of red wine. Spent a few hours today catching up on some reading. Got my maps. I just went over those a little bit earlier today. Checking over tomorrow's route to the next campsite. It's going to be a short paddle. I'm keeping her short just because of the weather. And I think that's going to be about a 10-kilometer paddle. So that shouldn't be too bad. They are calling for rain in the afternoon. Hope to get started at least before the rain. I don't mind paddling in the rain, but it's nice to at least get going before it starts. So that's going to be the goal for tomorrow. And we'll play it by ear from there. What else did I do today? I ate a lot of food. Basically a day off, so lots to eat. Smoke's terrible. Maybe a little bit of beer will wash that smoke out of my eyes. Yeah, I know. That didn't really make sense either, but I wanted to have a drink of beer. So yeah, campfire's going. Gathered up lots of wood today. I burned up all my wood yesterday I had cached up, as I thought today was probably going to be okay to paddle. It was supposed to die down quite quickly, but it didn't. It just picked up and it was crazy. No tornado. It didn't hit here. I don't know if it hit outlying areas. I'm not sure. I'll check that on the news after the trip is over, see what's going on. But it wasn't a fun night. Like from 2 o'clock in the morning on, it was just kind of dicey. But very happy to get up this morning. No damage has been done. No major trees down in the immediate area that I've noticed. Didn't hear any crashing. I was listening for the sound of cracking. Got up about 4 times during the night just to check on things. Walking down to the lake, seeing the waves building up bigger and bigger. I'm just going to move a little bit here. I got to get out of that smoke. That's better. So that's about it. Cut a lot of wood today. I thinned out a lot of the brush in the area, trying to clean it up more for next time, whether it's me or somebody else coming along here. So working on that. I did the same thing here several years ago. Spent about 3 days just cleaning this place up and getting it set up. And kind of had in the back of my mind it would look more or less the same when I got here 2 days ago, but nah, it didn't. It was a total mess. So put a bunch of work into that. It's all good. Anyways, I'm going to relax around the fire. It's about 20 to 7 now. It'll be dark by 8 o'clock, so I'm going to relax for a little bit, finish tidying up the camp, get a few things put away. Probably going to call it a night around 9, looking to get up and have a good day tomorrow and continue with fun. Back soon with more.
Well, I am quite happy to say that this tent held up exceptionally well in both the winds and the rains. Now this chair here, the Eureka Tagalong, I just bought this a few months ago. Man, oh man, money well spent. This is so much more comfortable than the way I used to sit around in camp on one of those little flat fold-out chairs that sits right flat on the ground. This is just outstanding. I love this thing. Highly recommend it. So all in all, day 3 was a pretty relaxing day after the winds all settled down around 8 in the morning. Got a few hours sleep and just spent a nice relaxing day in camp. Man, oh man, this trip has been anything but what I was expecting so far. And now, well, we'll see how the next few days go, and we'll take it from there. Tomorrow, I do plan to be on the water, and got my fingers crossed that that'll happen, but you never know.